Hello stampers, this is Yana Smakula from My Favorite Things. Welcome back for another video tutorial. In this video, I'm creating a funny card with the My Favorite Things Merry Moose stamp set. This is a super adorable stamp set with images of funny moose doing all sorts of winter activities or winter sports. Whenever I have a stamp set like this, I like to create a grid design. So here I have picked 4 images and I'm going to stamp them onto a sheet of Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I'm using my Mini MFT stamping tool and I'm inking up these images using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, which is alcohol marker friendly ink, as I will be coloring these images with Copics. So I'll have 4 images on my card front. Each image will take a section of my grid, and then I'll just add a sentiment onto one of the sections. I decided to do very simple coloring today, and I went with a red, green, and white color combo. I'm using my go-to markers for coloring, and here I'm starting with the R27, R24, this is my medium red, and then using the R22, which is my lightest red. I'm going to alternate the colors, so one moose is going to have a red sweater and a green scarf, another moose is going to have a green sweater and a red scarf, and so on. So the main colors are red, green, and white, and then of course I will be using brown colors to color the moose brown. As for the greens, I'm going with the following colors: YG67, YG17, and YG03. And these are also my go-to markers for any green coloring. Next, to color the moose brown, I'm starting with the E37. This is my darkest brown, and I'm just using this color to lay down some shadows. Next, I'm coming in with the E33. This is my medium brown, and I'm using it to extend that darker brown color further into the image. Next, I'm using E31, and I'm using it to color the rest of the moose brown. I'm not doing anything special here. Like I said, this is just some basic coloring. I love how cute and funny these moose are. They're just absolutely adorable in their poses, trying to do the winter sports. I also have this red pen, and I will also later use a green pen, and I'm using the pens to color in the tiniest little details that I have on these stamped images. If you don't have pens like this, you can also use a colored pencil, which you can sharpen to a very fine point. I'm also using R22 and then RV10 to add a little pink color to the inside of their ears. With the coloring done, I place the panel back inside my Mini MFT stamping tool. I still have the stamps on the lid of my MFT. And they are positioned in the same way as they were positioned when I did my original stamping. And I'm now re-inking the images with a darker black color. This is VersaFine Onyx Black, which is my favorite black for stamping. I don't stamp with this ink right away because this ink is not Copic marker friendly or alcohol marker ink friendly, and it will bleed when it comes in contact with alcohol markers. So I prefer to do my stamping with Memento ink, then I do my coloring, and then I re-stamp the image outlines with this VersaFine ink. And I really like how dark black, crisp of an outline I get when I use this ink. I'm just going to add a little bit of the clear embossing powder over these images, and I'm going to zap them with my heat tool to melt the powder and set it in place. And this will not only give me a really nice black outline to my moose, but it's also going to create a nice little shiny outline to these images. With the stamping and the heat embossing done, I used coordinating dies and I cut these out, and check them out. Aren't they adorable? They're just so funny. I love them. It's time to create our grid. I used 2 shades of red cardstock, a brighter red and a darker red, and I cut those into little rectangles to cover the front of my A2 card. I also used the coordinating dies included in this stamp set, and I added a little die cut details onto my panels. I also heat embossed Moose Use So Much Sentiment in white embossing powder onto one of the rectangles, and this is going to be the sentiment for my card. So I'm just going to use glue and adhere these panels onto an A2 background. So I have a white cardstock panel that is cut to 4¼ by 5½ inches, and I'm just adding my rectangles on top. So the rectangle, each rectangle is 1/4 of an A2 panel. You can adhere these directly onto your A2 card base, but I prefer to add them to a panel, then trim any excess cardstock if needed, and then add that panel onto my card base. With that done, I can now add my mousse onto my card. I'm using foam adhesive squares and I'm popping these up just to add a little bit of dimension. I love to use foam adhesive squares and I always add a little bit of dimension whenever I can. And look at that, these are so adorable. Lastly, I used a white jelly roll pen and I added white dots behind my mousse. This created the illusion of falling snow and it just added interest and playfulness to this simple card design. So this finishes my card for today. I hope you feel inspired to create and I hope you're going to give this idea a try. Thanks so much for joining me today. Love you guys and I'll see you next time. Bye!